My name is Deacon Dance, and I am a Catholic school teacher. I teach religion every day. Every day I wake up in the morning and I say my prayers, and I come to work, and I prepare to share the gospel with hundreds of kids. It's a beautiful and wonderful and blessed job. And on the weekends, I have the beautiful opportunity of serving a parish that I deeply, deeply love, full of people that are clearly in love with Christ Jesus. And it has been such a blessing to my life. It's been an incredible and beautiful and wonderful thing to be able to share our walk in the Lord with so many incredible young people and incredible people of all ages in the parish. And over these last few weeks, I find myself silenced. My heart is broken. I come into school every day and I don't know what to say. I've dedicated my entire life to young people. I've given countless hours writing letters to kids to help them understand who Christ is and why it matters to them, and to find out that the highest people in the church have been hurting the very kids of whom I love so much. Young people in their teens and in college age, and to find that those people are being hurt by members of the hierarchy of our church is just, it's been ripping my heart out. And I feel like my soul is being stripped away. I'm a very private man, and it's kind of odd. I have a public life, but I'm a private man. And most of my feelings I keep pretty close to the chest. But I would be lying if I didn't say that I've shed more tears over this last month than I have shed in years. I have a deep and powerful respect for all of those people in Catholic media that have been so open and so clear about trying to share what's truly important in this time. Recognizing first and foremost that this is a watershed moment, that this time is going to define the rest of all of our lives as Catholics. Most especially my own. I've been listening to Father Mike Schmitz and to Bishop Barron and to Matt Fradd and so many others, and all of them, I feel like they've been speaking directly to my own heart over these last few weeks. They've been calling us forward to be saints. They've been calling us forward to live a life totally and completely dedicated to Christ, enveloping ourselves into the mantle of His most blessed Mother, and trying to move forward in a world that is going increasingly dark. To put it very shortly, they've used the same words of Christ, saying that we must now, of all times, we must now be the yeast. We must be the leaven. We must be the salt. And if we lose our flavor now, when it counts most, then what good are we? We're good for nothing but to be trampled on. And it is now, when things are darkest and scariest and hardest, now when we are called to move towards Christ more firmly and with more dedication than we have ever moved before. And I know that I'm a part of that. That call isn't to other people, that call is to me. And so I'm doing something silly, and I'm staring into a camera talking, and I'm not going to lie, this feels really, really odd to me. I've got no idea what I'm doing, and I'm going to have to learn. But I know that being a voice in this world is too important to not do right now. Now, maybe you're called in your life to be a voice to your parishes. Maybe you're called in your life to be a voice to your families or the people around you. Maybe you're called in your working life to be a voice of reason in the midst of all rationality being lost. But if we don't stand now, then who are we? The church right now is in one of its darkest times. There's been worse. There's been much worse. But in our modern times, this is as low as it gets. And I have a feeling that it's going to get worse. I'm not the best of men. I'm not even necessarily a good man. I try, and I fail a lot. But one thing I can say, this is a time for trying. This is a time in the world's history that we need to pick ourselves up and do everything in our power to do what is right and true and good. This is a time to step forward and be a saint. This is a time to live a completely different kind of life. This is a time to actually, truly pick up our rosaries, to fast, to pray, to do penance, to really, truly try to be the saints that you and I know that God is calling us to be. We know that it's in the darkest of times. It's when the things are hardest. It's when the things are most frightening, when things are most scary, when we all want to cry and throw up our hands and say, Lord, take us home. It's this time precisely when God calls saints, when God calls people forward to be different, to step out of the world, to step out of their own shoes, and to move into His light. And in doing so, to transform and change the world. And that's what you and I are now called to do. We are called to transform the world. Does the church have to transform? Yes. But I'm just a humble deacon. I can't do anything about that. I can write letters and I can say, geez, you guys need to fix this problem. And I can be outraged along with you. And I am. And I've done those things. I've written the letters, and I am outraged. But there's something more we need to do. We need to remember who and what we are. We need to remember wholeheartedly that we are sons and daughters of God, and our dignity demands that we live the best life possible. That we truly become the saints now, more than ever, that Christ has called us to be. This video is my pledge to do everything in my power to do just that. This beginning, and I have no idea where it's going. It may be a one video thing. It may be that this is my whole life now. I just don't have a clue. But I do know this. It's time to be a saint. It's time to be serious about it. It's time to take holiness and sanctity as our prime vocation. I know we've said that for years. I know you've heard since you were a kid, it's time to be holy. Let me say it again, but let me say it stronger and with more vehemence than ever. Now is the time to become a saint. Now is the time to take your prayer life seriously. Now is the time to pick up the rosary and pray it every single day. Now is the time to look at every single human person you meet as Christ walking on the earth. Now is the time to truly live out your faith in a way that is real and deep and true. Because we must reform. We have allowed ourselves, we've allowed the world to take too deep a step. And we need to stop. We need to look at the reality. The reality is we are at war. And we are at war not with men and not with bishops and cardinals and not even with child abuse. We are at a war with Satan himself. We are fighting against the principalities of which desire the destruction of our souls. Christ said that the way is narrow and that many people do not take it. I think it's time to widen that road. I think it's time to take that, I think it's time for more of us to take that narrow path seriously. So I invite you to join hands with me and to join hands with all of those other holy men and women throughout the world who are just as disgusted as you and I, but who are just as committed to Christ himself as we have ever been. I invite you to hold hands with us all, that we may support one another, that we may lift one another up, that you and I may climb that ladder to sanctity, which is the cross itself. We must pick up our crosses and we must follow the Lord. I know the world has pulled into your life. It's pulled into mine. I know you probably spend too much time watching Netflix or TV. I know you probably spend too much time perusing the internet. I know you probably are doing all sorts of things that you know is really worldly. Let's put an end to it. Let's take our faith as the only thing that matters. Let's take ourselves seriously. I remember John Paul. John Paul told us over and over again those words which Christ told us. Do not be afraid. So do not be afraid. Do not be afraid of being holy. Do not be afraid of being virtuous. Do not be afraid of putting down all those things which are evil in this world and picking up what is right and true. Do not be afraid of giving everything you have to Christ, because that is the only thing that can fix this world. Know that I send you my blessings, that I love you and care for you, and that I stand hand in hand with you in this great endeavor. May God bless you.